and welcome from the Republican National Convention in Cleveland, where Team Trump has been trying to persuade the world that they can make America great again. But the question many people are asking is, can they make America great again for women? Because until now, there's been clear signs that women voters are fairly worried about some of the words that have been coming out of Donald Trump's mouth. So I'm joined here with Courtney from our Washington Financial Times team, who's been talking to a number of the women here at the RNC convention to try and work out whether Trump can win them over. So, Courtney, we've seen a lot of women up on the stage of the convention. Clearly the Trump group are trying to reach out to women voters. Do you think that they presented a convincing case for women to vote for Trump?
I mean, I think one thing that was interesting is the women that we have on stage this week, they're all these people who have personal relationships with Trump. So it was the general manager last night at Trump Winery, it's Trump's two daughters, his wife Melania, and these are all people that the Trump campaign think can speak to Trump as a person as well as a candidate.
Absolutely. I mean, but they're a pretty glossy breed up on stage, aren't they? I mean, they look like a string of supermodels with dazzling white teeth and long hair and all the rest of it. Do you think ordinary women can relate to that?
You know, it's interesting. I've been talking to a lot of the delegates here, and they love Melania Trump, for instance. A lot of women reference Jackie Kennedy Onassis, and they said that they saw Melania as a new Jackie Kennedy.
But I mean, even in spite of all the controversy about plagiarism in her speech, because I was having lunch with someone who runs the Illinois Republican Party, who was saying to me, she's a woman, that was just distraction, that no one should focus on the plagiarism
Absolutely.
issue.
I mean, the Trump campaign has been really masterful. Every time there's some sort of faux pas that would be, a death sentence for another campaign, they're really able to paint this as a distraction by the liberal media and to say that this is not the issue that voters should be focusing on.
But what about all the insults that Trump has hurled at women over the last year? Mm-hmm. Because many of those are downright nasty by the standards of normal politics. I mean, how do you think people read that?
I think a lot of people think that Trump is an equal opportunity insulter. He doesn't, it's
right.
Women, it's minorities, they think they can't be considered sexist because, he's attacking people left and right. It's not just one particular group.
Right. I mean, one of the things that someone said to me today is that, you know what, in my workplace, I've had insults hurled at me. In my, college, I had insults hurled at me. Any woman who can't cope with that basically hasn't been in the real world.
Right.
And this is just more of the same. I mean, is that something you've heard as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think also the fact there are so many things at stake in this election. People here are worried about the economy, they're worried about security. To them, the stuff about Trump and women, it seems like a small issue.
Absolutely. I mean, I must say that certainly the security issue has come up over and over again, and the jobs issue for women. And some women I've spoken to have been insulted, saying, why should we be talked to in terms of women's issues? We actually care about bigger issues than just gender.
Right. They think of the fact that, Hillary Clinton sometimes is portrayed as a women's candidate is insulting to them. Why should we have to vote for someone based on our gender?
Do you think that there's also a generational issue here, that some women stand up and say, you know what, Hillary Clinton represents an old-style feminism that I don't really relate to today?
Yeah, I think a lot of women say, I don't want to elect a first female president who's tied to her husband, and whose husband had his own political career. That's people on the Republican side, it's people on the Democratic side, and especially younger women too.
And what about the social issues? I mean, we've had Trump come out and flirt with the socially conservative aspect of the Republican Party, but now that we have Governor Pence as named as the vice presidential candidate, we could see the party stress that much more. Is that a turn-off, do you think, for women?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I've been really interested this whole primary about how many evangelical Christians, both men and women, really like Trump, even though he's obviously twice divorced, thrice married, and is kind of this colorful character, uses profanity, committed adultery. But people like Trump seems to represent this figure where he just, because people are so upset right now at the establishment, and they want people to shake up the system, Trump they see as the best messenger of that.
And last but not least, I mean, obviously we are both women. We've been around many contexts in the world as part of our journalism. I mean, how do you feel about Trump when you look at him? Do you feel, goodness me, this is somebody who I find as a woman quite off-putting? Or do you think, actually, I can understand why he's got a base of support here?
That's a very difficult question. I mean, I see both sides of the argument. I see women who are, obviously repulsed by things that he says about women. On the other hand, I thought, you talk to some of the women who worked for him over the years, and actually they some of them say that in a professional environment, he actually has promoted some women. And then you have these strong figures like his daughter Ivanka, who are fans of it. So he's obviously a very complicated and controversial figure.
Yeah, I mean, I must say, speaking as a woman, you know, I'm also very torn. Part of me finds some of his statements shocking and I recoil, and then some of me thinks, well, you know what, he is indeed an equal opportunity insulter. And I think that Ivanka's speech at the convention, she's going to be opening and introducing him, will be absolutely critical in trying to reset the narrative a bit. And certainly she has a lot of things to say, and she actually runs a website called Women Who Work, or Women at Work, which tries to present a more positive image. So a lot to watch, and the one thing that's clear is that many of the earlier perceptions and cliches about Trump and the idea he couldn't appeal to women, that actually is going to be tested over the next few days.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks.